Hey, so now we've got an 8-bar loop. I've smartened up the notes that I was playing on the keyboard a little bit. Some of them were kind of sloppy. Trying to do it on the screen of the phone. When you listen on Bluetooth headphones, you're always going to miss a little bit. Otherwise, it would have been perfect, obviously, because I'm. So sounding like that. But then, what I mentioned before about adding effects on the bus, that's just adding it to individual instruments. But there's also the main bus, and that's going to affect everything that you've got. So the two things that I always like to put on that main bus really are an EQ and a limiter. Now the EQ, mainly there really because I want to see on that spectrum where there's some big peaks and where I'm missing out things as well. So if you play the track back with that open, if you look on the left-hand side, the real bass notes down around below 100 hertz, it's way too loud there. And it's the bass drum. Every time the kick drum hits, that is a massive spike of that EQ. So what you can do is go in here and start pulling down the bass, but you're going to lose some good stuff in there too. What I'd rather do is try and work out what the cause of the problem is. And I think here it's just the bass drum, it's just way too loud. So that's probably too low. Better. Okay, that sounds decent now. The other thing is the limiter. So the limiter is just going to be a brick wall on top of anything that gets above a certain peak. When you upload things to YouTube or to Spotify or wherever like that, it's going to decide what the maximum volume of your music is, and then it's going to drop everything so that that maximum hits whatever maximum is allowed on that platform. So if you've got stuff that's peaking up there, just like the odd little click or hi-hat or something, the rest of your music's going to sound pretty quiet and it's going to sound a bit puny compared to everything else that's on there. So one kind of really dumb way to get around that or to try and mute that or limit is to put this limiter, which just says, okay, don't let anything go above this certain amount, and if it does, just drop the volume. So you'll see if it's having any effect because there'll be light up here, and you can actually say so you can turn the gain up a bit if you see it's not really clipping very much, and that'll make everything louder without clipping too much. So they're pretty like crude tools to be able to do mastering, basically, like finishing off the track. I haven't applied any EQ on there. Maybe you could do, although it's always better to EQ individual elements, I think, which you could do by adding an EQ to these individual buses and start playing with them that way. I haven't done any of that, but you can see that's the way you do it. And then the other thing to think of, I think, when you've got an 8-bar loop like this, you normally want to hear something different at the end of every 8-bar loop. It's boring otherwise. So one thing we could do here, once we get to that end of that 8-bar loop, is drop the drums. Remember, we've always got A2 is the loop without the drums. A1 is with the drums. So if just for that final couple of bars we drop in the instrumental. Back into it. And that's all I'm going to show, really. I mean, there's a million ways you can take it from here. You could have different synth lines, you could have synth bass, you could have pads, you could have different instrumentation. You can start messing around with vocals, putting a cappella vocals on there, which is a whole different story. We could start remixing it, could start using the performance effects. I think I sort of showed this briefly before, but my favorite ones to use are filter and stutter. Stutter's just always cool to end an 8-bar loop with as well. And there you go. Well, that's kind of some basic intros to Koala, some fun things you can do with it. And I hope you have a good time with it like I normally do. I guess I always do. No, sometimes it's terrible. I end up with some shocking things that will never see the light of day.